it isn't how much you have committed to memory or even how much you know. It's being able to differentiate between what you know and what you don't know. And that is very, very important to understand because when you do your tests and when you do your focus assessments, you know which area you didn't do well, and you should concentrate on that area. Just not um, not concentrate on the ones that you already did. Brandon, are you there?
Yeah, my internet just came back.
Okay, you are not on camera. Remember, everybody has to
I
be.
I am on camera.
You are?
Yeah, it might be my other one because
Yeah.
I closed it off my phone.
Okay,
But
yeah. You have one that is blank.
mhm.
Okay. Alrighty, so let's go to the next slide. Learning outcomes describe the anatomy and physiology of the skin, hair, and nails. And we just go directly to the introduction. The skin, hair, and nails make up the integumentary system. And the integumentary system is what is considered the skin system. Information from the history and physical assessment can reveal the status of the patient's hydration, nutrition, airway clearance, thermoregulation, and tissue perfusion, all which directly impact the skin, hair, and nails. So when we examine whether it is the skin, the hair, and the nails, we even excuse me, even by inspection, you can get a lot of information. A lot of information. The skin and the accessory structures include the sweat and oil glands. The hair, nails are the major components of the integumentary system. The largest of these components is the skin. A cutaneous membrane, cutaneous relates to skin. A cutaneous membrane, the skin is made up of two primary layers. So know what is epidermis, which is the outer layer, and dermis, which includes the subcutaneous layer. The skin works with other body systems to regulate body temperature, synthesizes, excretes body wastes, and helps humans sense the world around them. That's what usually the skin does. The skin is composed of the epidermal, dermal, and subcutaneous layers. And I think there is a slide that will explain. Oh, right here. Um, this is a three-dimensional view of the skin, subcutaneous, and tissue. This is just so you get a picture of how the skin is composed. So here are the three layers: the epidermis, which is the top, the dermis, and the subcutaneous, which is right at the lowest part, and that is what contains like the fat. You can see the nerves, you can see the hair, uh, that it comes through a hair shaft. These are the parts of the skin: the stratum corneum, stratum lucidum, granulosum, spinosum, and basale. And this is nice to know. So this is just so you get a mental picture of the structures. Epidermis is new skins are formed in the stratum basale or basal layer, which is also known as the stratum germinativum or germinating layer. And that is nice to know. We are not going to concentrate a lot on this, but you need some areas. We are not going to concentrate a lot on these structures, and we don't go into great detail in anatomy or physiology because you already had these two classes. But some structures we have to concentrate because of it has some significance for our purposes. So in the epidermis, about 25% of the cells in the stratum basale are melanocytes. which produce the skin pigment called melanin. All humans have the same relative number of melanocytes, but the amount of melanin they produce varies according to genetic, hormonal, and environmental factors. So know what produces the color of the skin, and that will be melanin, right? And all humans have the same number of melanocytes, but the amount of melanin they produce varies according to genetic, hormonal, and environmental factors. So have a mental picture of that. And that's all related to that. Oh, let me see. So fibers. Collagen, which gives the skin its toughness and enables it to resist tearing, and elastic fibers, which gives the skin its elasticity. So as we grow older, there is less collagen, and so that produces our skin kind of to fall. We don't have this elasticity that prevents that. So that is that. Subcutaneous tissues is a loose connective tissue that stores about half of the body fat cells, cushions the body. These fat cells cushions the body against trauma, insulates the body from heat loss, and stores fat and energy. And that's all that you need to know for that. Cutaneous glands. The cutaneous glands are formed in the stratum basale and push deep down into the dermis. They release secretions through ducts onto the skin surface. The major functions of the cutaneous glands include excreting uric acid, urea, ammonia, sodium, potassium, and other metabolic wastes. Regulating temperature through evaporation of perspiration on the skin surface. Major functions of the cutaneous glands include softening, lubricating, waterproofing skin and hair, resisting water loss from the skin surface of low humidity. So know the major functions of the cutaneous glands. Oh, know this. There are two types of sweat or sudoriferous glands, and that includes the eccrine, which is the more numerous and more widely distributed. They produce a clear perspiration. Clear. Eccrine is clear, mostly made up of water and salts, which they release into a funnel-shaped pores of the skin surface. The apocrine, not the apocrine, found mainly in the axillary and anogenital regions. They are dormant until the onset of puberty. Apocrine glands produce a secretion made up of water, salts, fatty acids, and proteins, which is released into the hair follicles. When apocrine sweat mixes with bacteria on the skin surface, it assumes a musky odor, and that is telling us that it is time for us to take a shower. Mini shower, which means just cleansing the axillary areas and the anogenital areas with soap and water, and that will take care of that. So know that oil glands, sebaceous glands, are distributed over most of the body except on the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet. Oil glands produce sebum, which is an oily secretion composed of fat and keratin, that it is usually released into hair follicles. Hair is a thin, flexible, elongated fiber composed of keratinized cells that grows out in a columnar fashion. Each hair follicle has a rector pili muscle that causes the hair to contract and stand upright when a person is under stress or exposed to cold. That is funny. You have seen this in the comics, or when the person that the hair just gets really straight up. Hair growth is cyclic, and scalp hair typically has an active phase of about 4 years and a resting phase of a few months. So we lose hair, we lose hair every 4 years because that's the lifespan that they have. Hair color is determined by the amount of melanin produced in the hair follicle. The type of distribution of hair vary in different parts of the body. Velos hair is a pale, fine, short strand that grows over the entire body except for the margin of the lips, the nipples, the palms of the hands, and the soles of the feet, and parts of the external genitals. So our whole body is covered of hair, which is called velos. You cannot see it, but if you stand in the sun, then you can see it. Of course, we don't have hairs on the margins of the lips or the palms of the hands or soles of the feet and some areas of the external genitals. The terminal hair of the eyebrows and scalp is usually darker, coarser, and longer. The major functions of the hair. So this is important. Almost every single structure has some type of functionality that whenever they are missing, it can carry some type of a problem. The major functions of the hair are to insulate against heat and cold, and also protects against ultraviolet and infrared rays. And it perceives movement or touch, protect the eyes from sweat. That is the eyebrows. Eyes from sweat, and protect the nasal passages from foreign particles. Remember, we have hair in the nose, and so that protects also protect us from foreign passages, particles going into the nasal passages. Eyebrows, the eyelashes also have a protection. And of course, it protects against foreign particles as well as sweat. Nails are thin plates of keratinized epidermal cells that shield the distal ends of the fingers and toes. So the nails protects our fingers, the end of our fingers and toes. Nail growth occurs at the nail matrix because new cells arise from the basal layers of the epidermis. A moon-shaped crescent called a lunula appears on the nail body over the thickened nail matrix, and you can see the picture right here. See the body of the nail. If you are lucky and have a long body of the nail, it gives the impression that you have a very long nail, even though you have short nails. Your nails are not long, but the body of the nail is long, and that gives the impression of having long nails. You can see the cuticle right here at the end, and you see the lunula, which is like a moon-shaped kind of figure, and it's white. The cuticle is important because it protects the lunula, and it protects the nail. Sometimes when we have a manicure, sometimes they go a little overboard by cutting completely the cuticle, and that exposes to infection, entry for any foreign material there. So let's see, what is the nail? Yeah, it's just nice to know, but remember that for the nail, the protection will be the cuticle. Lifespan considerations, a patient's age and developmental stage have a tremendous influence on the appearance and functioning of all parts of the integumentary system. Psychosocial considerations, the appearance of the skin, hair, and nails impacts the self-concept of the individual. Of course, if the person, let's say that once upon a time they had beautiful hair, full of hair, and now they don't have it because either disease or be either inheritance. Like for instance, and so that for some people is no big deal, but for some others, it might impact their self concept about themselves, self image. Skin disorders may interfere also with social relationships, roles, and sexuality. Um, if the person has, specifically people who are in the media or the movie stars that might have some kind of a skin discoloration, such as vitiligo, that might definitely might interfere their role, as well as they might feel like uh, they are not the same as they used to be. Stress may also be a factor in compulsive behaviors such as hair twisting and plucking. That is called trichotillomania. And nail biting, signaled by nails that have no visible free edge or have short, jagged edges. So that you will see that will be like a cue that this person is going into a stress. I have seen this. I have seen this in students when we were in the classroom, that they will come with beautiful eyebrows, and then by the end of the term, the one eyebrow was totally gone because they will pluck it during the class because they are stressed and so I have seen that. A lack of cleanliness of the skin, hair, or nails also may result from emotional distress, poor self-esteem, or disturbed body image. Social and environmental conditions, a patient's living situation, including socioeconomic status, home environment, and type of employment or daily activities, may affect the health of the skin, hair, and nails. Of course, the persons who, like nurses, they have to wash their hands all the time. So, of course, their nails are going to be affected at one point sometimes. People who work in the fields collecting produce or work construction workers, all of these individuals, their skin is exposed. So of course that would get impact. Hair and nails, it also depends on wherever they work at that they will get problems. Daily habits of bathing, moisturizing, and other skin, hair, and nail care will be learned throughout the assessment of physical examination of this system. We already mentioned that. Okay. So in this class, we are not going to do anything about subjective health history because you do a lot of assignments in where you will go over subjective and objective. Those are those assessments that don't have grades. Focus interview, you already know that it is refers to a specific area that it is having problems. Health history is included in those assessments that you will be doing. So nothing in here. Okay, so objective data. Usually we go over this. Healthy skin should be clean, free of odor, and consistent in color. The skin should feel warm and moist with a smooth texture and be mobile, with blood vessels visible beneath the surface of the abdomen and eyelids. The skin should be free of lesions other than findings of freckles, birthmarks, and normal age variations. The skin should be sensitive to touch and temperature, and the scalp of the hair in the adult should be clean. Physical assessment of the skin, hair, and nails follows an organized pattern. It begins with a survey inspection, followed by palpation of the skin. Measurements are used to identify the size of the lesions and the location in relation to the accepted landmarks. Variations of skin color from dark must be taken into account when describing findings. And so when we do a physical assessment of the skin, we notice whether there is pallor. Pallor means the patient is pale color. Absence of color. There is the name of this albino. People who don't have any color in the skin is called albinos. Cyanosis is bluish or purple color, and that is usually indicates the patient is having respiratory problems. Reddish blue tone, that's usually kind of a reddish red color, and that is usually problems with the heart. Erythema, that's an indication of how do I describe that? When you hit yourself, you will see like inflammation right there and then, and it's reddish, and it will go down. Jaundice is people who have liver problems. It's kind of a dark color, orangey color, and carotenemia is orange color too. Uremia is related also to inflammation, and brown, you already know what it is. So all those are the changes that you see in colors. Let's see. To evaluate in patients. Oh, you know what? I'm going to just tell you what you need to concentrate on this, because we only have 30 minutes for the other chapter, even though, okay, so this is normal, the freckles, no vitiligo, the 44 slide, what it is, and the rest is how you will position the patient. But this is either on the bed or in the doctor's office. You already know how to do palpating the skin elasticity or turgor. Know that. Know how to the 4-point scale for grading edema. 2 millimeters. I'm sorry, equals 1 plus. 2 plus equals 4 millimeters. 3 plus equals 6 millimeters. So it's just you just multiply it. Pitting edema, you can see it, know this. And I don't think you have this. Know the assessment of the cancerous lesions, but utilizing the acronym ABCDE, and that stands for A, asymmetry, B for border irregularity, C for color variation, D for diameter greater than 6 millimeters, and E, evolving changes. And these evolving changes include changes in size, shape, symptoms, itching, tenderness, bleeding, and shades of color. This is how you use the magnifying glass in order to inspect the skin. This is just how to inspect the hair and the scalp. This is pertinent only for your physical assessment. This is how you take the temperature or palpate the temperature. Know the normal angle of the fingernail, because that will tell you when the person has. Make sure that you know claving. Put your 2 fingers together, like the thumbs together. Let's put the thumbs together, just as you see the picture which says normal, and you will see that there is a space there that it should indicate the diamond-shaped opening. If you have a diamond-shaped opening, you are rich, and that means you don't have COPD. But if you cannot see that, you might have claving, which indicates COPD. Documentation, this is always the same thing. You are required to document subjective and objective data, which must be accurate, professional, complete, and confidential. You always do that. And here we are going to abnormal findings. And I'll tell you what you need to know. You need to know macula and patch, mainly the examples of them. papula or papula. Pustule and wheel, just the examples. And a cyst, no keloid and lichenification. Ulcer. And a hematoma. Here you see a hematoma. Petechia, see on the roof of the mouth, those little pustules that you see. No. Let's see. Know the difference between rubella, which is the German measles, versus varicella, which is the chicken pox. And know herpes simplex versus herpes zoster. And that is, and psoriasis. No psoriasis.
Professor?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I got the last few, but I didn't get the first few slides that you suggested that we should really hone in on. Can you please repeat that? I think it started with the macula patches or prior.
Okay, so yes, macula and patch. You should know that.
Know the difference?
Yes, know the examples.
No examples, okay.
And then vesicle and bulla, I think.
Okay, not nodules. Okay, hold on. You're quicker than I am. Vesicle, and got it.
And cyst.
Cyst, okay.
Keloid and lichenification.
Hold on a second. Oh, okay, I see that.
Ulcer.
Okay.
Hematoma.
Hematoma.
Yeah, hematoma.
Where is the hematoma? I'm sorry.
It's on the slide. Are you with the slides? The slide 80.
Yeah, I've got it printed. I'm looking at a physical slide.
Okay.
So I've got ulcer, and then I don't see hematoma. Oh, it's under vascular lesions. Okay, hematoma.
Petechia.
Petechia, got it.
Rubella versus varicella.
Okay, rubella, and then the herpes.
Herpes simplex and herpes zoster.
Okay, and when you say be familiar with that, this is for the assessment purposes, for the quiz purposes?
Well, yeah, of course, because if you see this in a patient, you have to know what it is.
Are we going to be like on our assessment? Will we be seeing pictures of these?
No.
Oh, it's just going to be like descriptions of these.
Yeah. Families. Like there will be something like, for instance, in psoriasis. What is how would you identify that it is a psoriasis? What would you say? What does the definition say? Thickening of the skin in dry, silvery scale patches. So that should give you an idea of what is that it is they are talking about.
Okay.
And there is one. I can't remember if there is just in case studied basal cell carcinoma and squamous, and that's it. The rest is the same thing, but sometimes with hirsutism. Hirsutism. This is the abnormal growth of hair in females due to endocrine or metabolic dysfunction. So that's it for that. And the rest that you can just look at the pictures and get an idea. Some of them are repeated, but just different picture. So let's go to the other one. The other one is mainly related to the